Greetings, jelly spoons, and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Madness, the Monday show where I talk about anything and everything. And this week, I'm going to be taking you through the process of making this. It was a time, a worthwhile time, but a time nonetheless. Let's do it. Alrighty, so as ever, we are going to start with some sketches. So, I have been on museum websites, I've been looking on Instagram stories, I have been looking at all the places, and I have got a rough idea of what I want to do. So, you've got the basic body, which is the pants themselves, and they are long, tassely strips of white. They are made of... So, according to the listing on the V&A website, they are made of, you ready? Full white breeches, cut strands of silk chiffon for the Swan in Swan Lake. This was another design by Les Brotherston. You have heard of Les Brotherston before because I have made many replicas of many costumes. So the one at the V&A was worn in 2012, and it's full white breeches reaching from the waist to just below the knee, fitting closely to the lower torso and leg. Elastic lycra ground, which is closely to the lower legs, to below the knee, and chiffon, 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 chiffon. Now, I do not have chiffon, 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 chiffon. So my plan is to look through all the fabric that I do currently have that is white, and I will be slicing it up into long, sort of dangly tassely bits, and then I will sew them in sort of strips round and round and round and round from the bottom all the way to the top so they layer over each other. That is the current plan. So, hello angel dust. So, that is the plan. It's going to go, considering it's literally just a pair of pants, the amount of effort I'm sure this is going to take is ridiculous. So it's all these white strips. I will start at the bottom and layer up and up and up and up and up all the way around, and then we'll go into the waist details. Now the waist details are really fun because it's going to be sort of, there's a sheer panel bit in the front, sheer panel, and then the rest of it is sort of like foamy bits. Look, so if you have a look at these pictures with me, come with me, come and look at these pictures. Look closer. There we go. So, see the waistband there. In fact, you know what? Sometimes if you want a job doing, you have to do it yourself. So this is a picture that I took when I was at the V&A visiting and looking at these costumes. So, as you can see, it's got these foam bits on these sort of slinky swooshy bits where it's fitted around the waist. And you've got this sheer bit of fabric that's the skin colour of the performer. And then you've got all the tassely bits dangly, dangly, dangling and swooshing around. So this... very reminiscent of when I did Edward Scissorhands, actually. Considering it's the same designer, it makes quite a lot of sense. So in Edward, he had these sort of foamy bits that I made for the sleeves that made it look sort of like muscle, and this is what I'm going to use to do this as well. So a similar sort of technique to achieve a sort of similar outcome. Alright, first though, we've got to make these massive floofy trousers. Wish me luck. Day 1 of sewing the tassels onto the legs. I have to say, I don't think they look too bad so far. That's Apollo just chilling next to them. So swooshy. Look at them swoosh. Oh man, they're gonna look so cool when they're done. Ah. I'm having one of those existential crisis moments where I feel like I'm going to be stuck forever doing this. I'm still loving it, don't get me wrong, I'm loving it, but I have been going... every now and then in my spare time, which I do not have a lot of, but right now I've got some, so I've been building up and building up and building up all these layers of feathers. Now this is nowhere exactly like how they do them in the original costumes because, well, I am making do with what I have, which is strips of muslin which I have been ripping and tearing into shreds and attaching. So, this is how much we have got so far on one of the legs, and we are currently watching Sleeping Beauty. While we do it. But this is how much we've currently got. Now, it's quite chunky. Like, it covers my entire forearm. So, I do know that I have made progress. The problem is that when you compare it to the entire, you know, length, there's still, you know, the same amount again to go. And it's going to look marvellous. I am just, oh my god. I don't know what's going to run out first. This or... the space. I'm loving it. It's going to look amazing. Also, I've been finishing my paintings too. taking a slight pause in the usual proceedings to show you this painting that I did, because I've had Swan Lake on the brain this month because, well, the UK tour is happening and it's all very exciting, and I wanted to test my painting abilities. Usually I just do sort of silhouettes and stuff, so this was really important to me. I have wanted to try doing more colours for a bit. I say that in blue, black and white basically, but also it is my favourite scene. It always makes me cry. It's from right at the end of the show, and being able to paint it and at least bring it a little bit to life was super special. So I am quite proud of this. It's not perfect, but it is sort of scrappy and chaotic, and I just love it as a moment. I think it's really pretty. What do you guys reckon? Here is the finished painting. I have finally done it. It is a momentous day. No, I'm not finished. Of course I'm not bloody finished, but I have reached the crotch. Like, they're about an inch long, every row that I'm doing. So another 2 and I'll be in the crotch, which is a sure sign of success. What is my life? But thankfully we've got a lot left, so I might not even need to cut any more. Who knows? And this is the current state of the progress. God, the more I pan up, the more it looks like I've got left to do. I swear there's not actually as much as it looks like on camera. So, this is the side I've done the most of today, because I sort of got on a roll and just couldn't stop. So, if I put my hand in the bottom, you'll see what I mean. So here's my hand, hello, and that's like just over my elbow. So it's going quite well. We're over halfway done on this leg. This leg is about inch or so behind, another 2 rows, and that one should be caught up with this one. But as you can see, the problem is when you sort of sew in a spiral, you end up sort of ahead of yourself. So I've had to play some catch up, because I did a line, and when I start sewing without really paying attention, I sort of start going off on a little bit of a whoo, and so I've just had to play catch up with myself, because this line was actually down here, and I came round the corner doing this bit, and I got to here and went, what the hell? Because it was all the way down here, and I went, uh-oh. So I cut the thread off and started again, whoop, moved up, just took it round. So now I've done that, and now I can carry on from there, get into the crotch bit, hello, and then I'm gonna finish this side to catch up, and then yeah, go to the top, and then I'm going to do a cheeky little measure and fit it to me, because there's a sort of midriff part you have to do, which is going to be really interesting. But yeah, so far, considering this has been made out of strips of essentially really cheap white fabric that I have left over that I used to like make mock-ups and stuff, I think it's going okay. Like, from a distance it's going to look fairly similar to the stage show. Like, up close it really doesn't, because there's a sort of a lot of them are much longer than mine. I've tried to do them quite long, but they did look too chunky if I did them too big. I didn't want to just look like strips of, like, you know, big chunky bits. But theirs obviously a bit longer and a lot nicer, because they have money to spend on these things, whereas I have no money. So this is an old pair of pajamas I turned inside out, and a bunch of white stuff that I had lying around. But all in all, I think it's going to look okay, and I'm very excited to be a swan, and I need to work out ridiculously at the gym so that I can wear these with any sort of pride whatsoever. Alright, on with the legs. Alright, we paused to have some dinner, and now we are back. Look at how much I've got done. I am officially up to the crotch. Well, on this side I am. On this side I'm like 1 row away. 1 row away from the crotch. And then in the home stretch, it looks so much more from down here. It's not as much as this, so if you fold this over, it's more than that. So, I mean, that was lots of like little round and round and round and round and round. When I get to this bit, it's going to sort of be round and round the whole thing to get to the top. I also need to decide what kind of backdrop I'm going to make. I've got some blue ones. I want to try and kind of replicate the stuff they've got from the stage. Thoughts. But yeah, alright, here we go. Well, we have officially reached that point where we are so close to running out of this, and I've still got a bunch left to do, so I am now creating more. And they're going to be a slightly different shade of white, because it is a slightly different piece of fabric, because this all came from one piece, and this is all going to come from another. I've got not a lot left to do, but it's still quite a chunk. But I've changed my tactic now, so now that we're close to the top, I am doing it in rows, going upwards. Any minute now it'll be done. Give it several more hours. Progress. I swear it's progress. The finish line is in sight. I say this, it's still going to take hours. So I've been trying to work out if there was a way that I could have like machine sewed this to make it faster. There probably is, but by this point I am in too deep. And also just, I can't be bothered to move right now. So I have gone all the way around. And once I got to about, I had like what? Yeah, just under a foot left to go all the way around. I started doing it in rows because it just made me feel better. Like I was making more progress more quickly. And at the back, because I did officially start running out of these, I had to cut more strips from a slightly different fabric, and I made them slightly bigger. So on the back, you've got this middle section, which is made of much chunkier stuff. So I'm hoping it will sort of give a sort of tail effect. And it also meant that I could sew a bit quicker. When we get around the front, you've got slightly chunkier bits as well, but I'm mixing them in with the remnants of the small bits of fabric. So I kept a bunch of those for the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all these new bits, but I'm going to intersperse them with bits of the littler fabric so that hopefully the front will all sort of merge together. And if the back looks a bit different, that's okay because it can look more like a tail. Once I finish sewing all of this, and I've got some essentially fluffy sheep pants, I'm going to then use, where have you gone? This white foam, which I have to buy because I didn't have any white foam. I've only got black, and I'm gonna make the like waist piece. Okay, here we go. I have this much left to go. I mean, I still then have to make the waistband, but this is the biggest part. Oh my god. I mean, I'm gonna go back in and add a few extra little bits and pieces here and there, but I never thought this day would come. And this, Jellyspoons, is the delighted 2 AM dance of a cosplayer who has finally finished a massive part of the project. Okay, so we're in the final stretch. I have just attached a bunch of paper around my waist, and I have penned on, totally professionally and seamlessly, absolutely fine, where I want this to sit. And so I'm going to double it up to make it for two sides. And because I want it to fit quite closely, I'm going to put a zip in the back. And then it'll sort of open just a little bit because the pants are quite baggy, but this is going to fit closely. So obviously it's not going to be too stretchy. It's not going to be stretchy enough to go up and then in again. So I'm going to put a little hidden zipper in and hopefully it will work. And I'm going to use the damn machine now. Once I had the pattern cut out, I then cut the different shapes out of the foam, stuck those on and made a second set so I could put those on the other side. And then I had two pieces in two halves as well so I could detach the foam all together. And then I put it through the sewing machine, and I forgot how much I love the sewing machine and how much faster it is than hand sewing. And this is the end result. And good God, was I proud of this. It was made of a stretchy material that I had lying around. I think it was an old t-shirt, and that's an old pair of tights on the front and a zip at the back as well. Okay, so I've just done the first transition scene. There's a bit from the show where the stranger does this, and I just about got it in the right place. And look at this. I think I'm in pain. So yeah, Swan all the way down. Alright, I'm actually becoming the Swan now, so. Alright, officially Swan. Let's go film some stuff. I thought a lot about landing on my face. Thankfully, it is a dance character, and therefore I don't need to film any TikToks that speak. Although I managed to do it with Count Lilac, so hold this space. I do believe that this is the least amount of clothing I have ever worn for a cosplay, and that includes Slutty Molly and Angel Dust. But here we go, one sec, let me move you a little bit, because it is basically the bottom half of me that we're trying to see right now. Can you still tell I'm ginger? Okay. I'm still wearing my socks. Graceful and Balletic. Graceful and Balletic. No! Oh my god. It fits. And it looks like it. I mean, I have nowhere near as much muscle as any of the dancers in the show. I have been going to the gym, but sadly not enough. Oh my god! Wait. Hello. Let me just... 1 second. Move you back a little bit. I'm trying to get... You still see my feet? where all the lights are attached. Wait, what's a move? What's a move from the show? Oh god. I can't do it on this tiny of a screen. I have no more dance skills than when I was being Count Lilac. I mean, I can learn dance, don't get me wrong. I can learn them. I just don't naturally have it in me. I am more of a costumer and performer and crazy chaotic being. But you know what? They do not look too bad, do they? Boing! Jelly spoons. We have smoke. Ah, it smells so good. A fun little behind the scenes tidbit for you here, Jelly Spoons. What you cannot see outside of the camera here is that there is a screen where I have got a blown up picture of whatever move I am trying to copy and replicate, and I am desperately studying it and glancing back at it every 2 seconds to check if I'm doing it vaguely right. It took a while, but the end result ended up being quite pretty for the pictures, which I'll show you in a minute. Alright then, my wonderful Jelly Spoons, that brings us to the end of this week's episode of Monday Madness, the Monday show where I talk about anything and everything, and today I have shown you this. It was quite a journey, and I think I worked out that these took me somewhere around 18-20 hours of like intermittent many bits of sewing. They definitely could have been done faster. They definitely could have been done a million different ways. There definitely could be things that I would add and change about them, but ultimately I am just happy that I have them. And now I am going to bed. I love you all. Tell me what you guys are working on in the comments down below, and also, in the very near future, look forward to a very long video from me where I dive into Swan Lake, the Matthew Bourne version, and all the different possible like meanings and interpretations of the story that there are. Alright.